Hey YouTube world, and hey to my Neville Nation. I know you're out there. Welcome to Neville Girl Forever, or welcome back. And on this channel, we explore and discuss everything related to Neville Goddard, and we use his processes and the law of assumption to make our dreams come true. So whether you're new to Neville Goddard or really seasoned, and you just need added support or a journey member, I am your girl. So let's get into today's topic. Actually, and I should mention, you will see I have a new setup, a new staged studio area with my move being delayed. And this is going to go into today's topic. I just had a download to redo everything. It was on my mind anyway. I just saw it being in a new location, etc. But what to do when the 3D it hasn't lined up yet? What to do in the Sabbath? Well, I got creative and I had a download. I knew I needed some better lighting, and I restructured it just instantaneously. I knew what to do. So that's part of flow state. I love flow state so much. And when you're in the flow, you get an inspiration, and you know, God, universe, spirit, they know what's best for us. They know what we need. And so therefore everything lines up when the timing's right. If I could just show the whole area, it's pretty amazing. We'll talk about it more some other time. But yes, this new setup, lighting's better. And so it does line up with what I want to talk about today, which is keeping yourself magnetic and in alignment during the Sabbath, what Neville would call as the Sabbath. So for those of you who are new to Neville, I know a lot of you are out there following, but for those new, Neville believed that God and us, we are one, and the part of us that is God is our wonderful imagination. So what he calls the Sabbath is when you've done your sats, your state akin to sleep, when you're doing your videos or your movies at night, when you're doing your affirmations, when you've done all that and it feels really saturated, it feels almost redundant. I think that's the best way I can say it, is when it really feels redundant. Been there, done that, you feel it's on the way, drop it. And that's when you go into the Sabbath. But we don't know when the Bridget incidence is going to arrive, and it can be quick. I'm going to go over this, but Bridget incidence is when God, universe, spirit actually coordinates everything and brings it all together. But when we don't know when that is, and it's always perfect timing, it could be immediate, and it could take a little while. When that happens, it's called the Sabbath. You can feel like the gap, and so like a holding pattern. And it doesn't have to be. I mean, our goal is to sustain the end, the feeling of living in the end. You know, if you're familiar with Neville Goddard, and when he was working with Abdullah, and they were working on getting him back to Barbados, you know, it's whatever your Barbados is, that you are in Barbados. So we're going to talk a little bit about those techniques. I think I'm going to do actually a different video to get more specific. But right now I just want to touch on that gap feeling, that Sabbath. So after you've done successfully your sats and you're kind of in that holding pattern, and again, that's an assumption. We really want to be careful about our assumptions, because you don't want your assumption to be anything more than, my favorite affirmation for this is, I'm just ready to be ready. So when I was in be ready mode, which I try to be as consistently as possible, this studio happened and I love it. So back to the whole thing about when you're perceiving that nothing is happening, and it can feel like, to our mind, a challenge. And I do know the feeling all too well, but we are in essence call to deny our 3D senses. If you've been following me for a little bit, and just Law of Assumption in general and Neville Goddard specifically, we know that we are to live in the end state and to think as many thoughts about it and just to enjoy the sensation. But there is a part of your mind, in the back of your mind, that we maybe pop out of the more delusional state where you can become aware that there is a waiting period. And so that is just an underlying energy that some of us are challenged with. And hey, we all go through it to a different extent, but again, our assumptions can help with this, because if you assume it's going to take a while, or if you have other assumptions, and we'll get deeper into those things, those can hold you up. But if you're just ready to be ready, if you enjoy the journey, I love this new setup. It's better in so many ways. And so therefore, it doesn't matter if I'm enjoying the journey. Things will unfold as they're supposed to. So just drop it, enjoy. And because it's gonna all be perfect. Divine timing is gonna be perfect. Like I said, bridge of incidents does not have to take long. But thankfully with the delays, they had a lot to do with major serious weather issues. It had a lot to do with what seemed practical. So I'm grateful for the delays, and you know what? I'm going to enjoy it. So I'm going to share as much of my journey all the time. There's some things I can't discuss, but as things unfold, and I just want to demonstrate for you, because we're in this together. I'm here for your support, but I also want to demonstrate what it looks like, because if we can enjoy the moment and enjoy the journey, I mean, look at this. I'm so thrilled that vibration in itself keeps me in that alignment, that ready to be ready feeling, and it keeps me non-resistant, which is a little bit more of a Abraham Hicks kind of a lingo, but the information is very similar, and that's why I'm grateful to have also studied with Abraham Hicks. So during this holding pattern, persist in your affirmations, such as focused affirmations, audios that uplift and keep you aligned to your end state. I can't wait to go live, because I really want to discuss some of my very favorite affirmation audios, videos, subliminals that really keep me there. And I feel like we can have a better discussion once I get to 1,000 subs, which hopefully won't be too much longer. I'm holding the assumption that it'll happen pretty quickly. But while we're doing those, to help keep us in alignment, because that is important. You can waver a little bit, but you want to say if 50% is on this side, 50% is on this side, you just want the tipping point to be to 51%. So keep yourself, use whatever you can to stay in the 51 percentile. It's natural to our energy flows and fluctuates, but you want to use as many techniques as possible, and all techniques are not equal for everybody. So that's part of this channel too, because when I dreamed about it, I wanted to say, hey, this is what was going on. These are the techniques I used for this particular situation, and it may not match up with you, but I want to share and demonstrate as I go along what's been working. So, because we just don't, it's okay to waver. It's okay to even doubt, but keep in mind the 51 percentile. I think that can keep you kind of sane and enjoy the journey. And I know that's sometimes easier said than done, but enjoying the journey is part of it. Part of our manifestations is the journey. Because when you arrive, you're always going to be on the journey to the next thing. So the journey, while everything's unfolding, let's just say, and we're going to get into that terminology here shortly, but while it's unfolding or while you're waiting to align, etc., you want to enjoy it because that is part of the manifestation. This studio is in support of the things that I've been working on. And so therefore, here I am enjoying the journey. So if your pile of money, your trips, your cars, your dream homes, if they were here, would you be fretting? Would you be looking for your stuff? No, you wouldn't. You would feel content, right? You would feel uplifted. You would feel at peace and harmony. You would feel supported and loved by the universe. You would feel, fill in the blanks for you, right? But there are certain feelings you would get. What you want to do is get those feelings now. That's part of the end state. It really is. So keep that in mind when you think about what it is that that you've been working on. Remember that the essence of those things and hanging on to that and feeling it deep within yourself. And we talked about piggybacking before. Maybe take it from a different area of your life or just from SATS, that feeling that it's already here or something similar that reminds you of that feeling, like love. Okay, maybe it's a song that makes you feel that way, or maybe snuggling up with your dog. My little dog's in a cute little corner I created for her. But that love, you want to feel love as much as possible. And there's so many songs that help me stay there because even if it's not something you're working on, you also want to maintain. You want to maintain vibrations because that will affect a manifestation. Just because you've managed to align to something and bring it in, and I call it bringing in, but we'll talk about that. When you've aligned to it, you can also fall out of alignment too. So you want to master those feelings because those are going to be your new states of being that you're going to become more and more familiar with. And as you become more and more familiar, it'll just be your status quo. And that's what we want because you can quickly have a bridge of incidents and something pops into your world, or you align with it is a better way of saying it. But also too, you have to maintain. So anything, that vibration of being so abundant, what makes you feel abundant? You know, for me, this new studio, and sometime once I get a few things more adjusted, it's gorgeous in here, and I'm using it as a multi-use for some other things. But I focus on the things that make me feel the most abundant. And that is really important because it's not like, hey, I'm going to think about abundance until I get my abundance. No, we are abundance. And then we are observing and are grateful for that abundance. And that's what not only aligns us to the abundance or to the love or, you know, the pile of money, the dream cars, whatever, but also it maintains it. That's really important. It's not a one-time deal. It's not a one-time shot. We change. Whatever our end state is, we change to become in alignment and stay in alignment with that new version of us. So, like I said, bridge of incidents, and I hear people talk about it. You know, I mentioned before, it could be like Amazon. No, we can't necessarily pick our delivery date, but we can have assumptions that help us with it. We can assume that we are master manifestors. We can assume that we get what we want. We can assume that it's quickly, easily, and effortlessly. And so those are important things too. So whenever I manage to manifest something, I acknowledge it. It's really important. You know, so it wasn't your pile of money or your dream home yet. You're there, right? If you're living in your end state, if you are in Barbados, and that's what I call it, that state of being in Barbados, whatever your Barbados is, in the meantime, you want to acknowledge everything else that shows up that is showing you how abundant you are, how loved you are, how, you know, like at this, having my YouTube channel, this was a dream at one point, right? But things come along to support and show, and you just want to acknowledge those things. So it doesn't matter what it is. I got new tires for my car yesterday. It was time. I got an amazing deal. I got in just like that. Had circumstances. I couldn't get a hold of anybody, but I just stopped after leaving my office. Special pricing this weekend only kind of thing, probably because snow is coming. But I got almost $200 off. And again, it was showing me, number one, my alignment. Alignment got in when I wanted, exactly when I was looking for, exactly. For an amazing price. They didn't have that promo price a couple of weeks ago when I had just inquired. And it was enjoyable. And I waited. I was doing my Neville stuff and I enjoyed the journey. It is really important, but that is the abundance. Sometimes our abundance shows up in discounts. I think I'm queen of that one. I really do. I love it so much, but I acknowledge all of it. So whether it's a pile of money or whether it's, a gift, or whether, like I said, even just creating my studio, it just makes me feel amazing. It reminds me I'm in the flow, and that flow state is that is money. It's a frequency. Money is a frequency, and to me, I just revel in anything that reminds me that I'm one with God, universe, spirit, and with the vibration of my dreams come true, my abundance. It's all those good things. So because I wanted to, and I started touching on a little bit of this too. So one of the things is what helps during this Sabbath, this gap period, I find for me, and I really highly recommend trying this at least, is I really love staycations. They really help me and might help you to stay delusional. It's to stay in my Barbados, because there's nothing on the outside that if I'm coming into huge contact to remind me that something is missing. Nothing's missing. Remember, we're in the end state, but we don't have evidences. We can listen to or do our affirmations. We can listen to music that makes us feel a certain way. We can focus on the flow state, and you can get really sucked in to this beautiful delusional world where there's not that many reminders. If you're really careful and vetting, you don't want to, as few reminders of it's not here. So I find for me that doing a mini staycation for a day, like after I got my tires, I ran a few more errands yesterday, was setting up a little bit more with the studio, putting finishing touches, and then the rest of it just went into my delusional mode and enjoy my Barbados. So and we also talked about this too a little bit, but, and I really love this. One of the channels I really love that talks about is, and I've talked about the Power Now, which was not a video for everybody if you've been following me along, but I love the channel Be Something Wonderful with Tom Kieran. And he touches on a deeper aspect of this, but popping in and out of states, because moment by moment, decision by decision, we are popping in and out of states of alignment, and they look identical to the one before, unless you made a huge jump, which I've seen that happen before in my life. Those are just gorgeous moments, but sometimes it's a little decision at a time, and with those decisions, it's a thought at a time. So literally, that decision you made to have that thought and to kind of just go vibrationally into one direction literally pops us into another state that looks almost identical, but the results are slightly different on the other side. And so that's why our affirmations, our focus affirmations, robotic affirmations, I've been playing around a little bit with that. I'm more of a SATS girl. That's where I had my first successes working with Neville and the thank you prayer and just getting into the feeling. I love the feeling state. But you could do that with robotics too. And I'm just playing around with it. Some people will say, hey, you don't need to feel anything. You can just do robotics. I enjoy the feeling of being in Barbados, and but I do like exploring and playing with different techniques. So I will get back to you on that. But in the meantime, I am just enjoying the journey. But remember, moment by moment, thought by thought, affirmation by affirmation, maybe a robotic affirmation. Unless we make a large jump with alignment, it's going to look very identical until it doesn't. And we can go back and forth. So if you vacillate on a topic, you're gonna like one step forward, one step back, everything kind of looks the same, but the end result's different. You know, it would have been like, I couldn't get into, I'll give you an example. Like I couldn't have gotten into get my tires done this weekend, and snow is coming. We're predicted snow for next week where I am. And so the Cali sweatshirt has nothing to do with, I just love the color. And it's just a fun sweatshirt. So I'm not in Cali. Snow is coming. And also would have been, maybe there wasn't a special promotion discount this weekend to save $200. So in alignment, in the flow state, we line up with things. So my vibration was the flow. It was the feeling prosperous, enjoying my prosperity and life in general, right? So hopefully that's kind of an example, and I will give more examples. That's why I wish we were doing lives, because sometimes I'll think of things after I finish doing a video. So what to do during the Sabbath. We've been talking about it a little bit as we've been going through the video, been sprinkling it through, but really it's about enjoying the here and now and enjoying your Barbados, whatever that looks like. This is currently my Barbados. Not actually, but it is, because my future that I sat about has an amazing studio. Well, right now I have an amazing studio. There's so many other things in that my sats, but this is part of it. And it might look a little different in the future, but that's part of it, right? So staycation, taking a break from things that could potentially be reminders. I love that. And just do the things that kind of put you in a happy zone. So, you know, take your dog for a walk, go for a drive, an amazing drive, go work out, take a nap, go, you know, hang out with friends. Even call a friend, but that one's tricky because you don't want to talk about stuff. And so I really limit my conversations when I am really focused. And my Barbados is important to me. And that's why I want to share with you guys the importance of really keeping things as pure as possible. I mean, it's up to you. I think some people just can get a lot of results without a lot of effort. And I don't even want to call this effort. And like I said, we change as we are aligning to our things that we're satsing, right? So that is going to happen. So you don't want reminders of who yesterday's you was. You want to declare and set the vibration for today and that version of you that is in your version of your Barbados. Hopefully that I'm making sense. I'm trying to say it in a couple different ways. So keep your vibes up. Yep. And that's the other part too. While you're playing with your vibration, if you're sensitive to vibrations, keep them up. Be a vibrational snob. Really, I don't watch news. Occasionally I'll watch a movie, but I'm careful about what I watch. If a movie starts going in a certain direction, nope. I'm very careful about what I listen to, because our attention to anything is really important. Where our focus goes, energy flows. And you hear that in many different places. It was highlighted to me working with Mary Morrissey, but enjoy the flow state and really notice what you're noticing. That's why staycations, I think, are highly important, because you can be very structured about your environment and narrow it down to exactly your version of the Barbados, your delusion. I think they're really valuable. So let me know how that works for you. Give me some feedback if someone tries it or if you do it. I just find I get lots of great results with that. And then also too, you get inspired action when you don't have the outside world bombarding you with requests and things. I mean, I turn my phone off or whatever, just go off grid. You know, you can stay in your state, and then in that state, that flow state, you get inspired action. Again, this studio, again, stopping to see about getting my tires. It's not always action, and Neville did discuss not taking a lot of action, but inspired action. And you'll just know, it'll just be a like, the timing feels right. Let's inquire, or it's just setting on your mind that this is a phone call to make. So anyway, so that's a little bit more about the flow state and just staying in the vibration. Let the universe, God, universe, spirit do the heavy lifting. So, and I'll give you another example too about flow state. So I've also been reorganizing things throughout the house. Some parts for moving, some things just to reorganize, just because there's not an urgency currently right now for that. So I wanted to enjoy my space, but I wanted to give you an idea also about being in that delusional state and being in your Barbados. So both this spring and last spring, around the time of my birthday, I set the intention that I knew I had really wanted to do more traveling. So both cases, I ended up going to Sam's Club and buying some different things related to like luggage sets. I had talked about it with girlfriends. I had some trips that I was thinking about. And so, you know, I started getting gifts that were related to travel. I set my intention for travel, right? My Barbados, my version of what I know is coming. And sometimes it's that getting ready to be ready feeling. So that's what I did. I set the intention that I'm open and focused. I didn't necessarily have a location, but I just knew that was part of my future. So I started getting little accessories. I would go to TJ Maxx Home Goods and get little cute bags, or a new collapsible neck rest thing. Just little accessories along the way, just showing my intention in my delusion that I knew travel was coming. And it really has so far. Right now, it has slowed down for a minute, but that's okay, because I'm also getting ready for my next adventures right now. But that's what I do. I get ready to get ready. So when you know you're working on something, you get inspired, think about what is inspiring you. So for me, I couldn't have thought of anything better than getting new luggage and little accessories. It made me feel very ready. And before you know it, trips were right there, right in front of me, and it was amazing and magical. But I set the intention and I had the inspiration. So hopefully that is another good example for you too. So have fun with it, enjoy. Hopefully these are examples that'll make sense, that shows you kind of how to have fun with this flow state. And using law of assumption, we get to choose our assumptions and our vibrations, right? That's what we've been talking about in this conversation. So you want to carefully sift and select all the thoughts and feelings and dwell on what feels like your Barbados. So, we did talk about that part. Sorry, I always do so many notes because I don't want to forget anything. I get very excited and then I don't want to forget. So our assumptions are super important. And obviously, if you've been working with Neville, you know that. But I still catch myself. And then if I catch myself, I go to the opposite end of the stick. So if anything's a topic and I catch a negative assumption like, hey, why would I have thought? I go to the opposite side of that stick and I go, wow, well, this is the assumption I want. And we'll do more videos about that. But assumptions are important. So assume it's on the way. Assume that it's here. You got it. Assume it's really here and you're already in your version of Barbados. Assume that you need to get ready for it. Go get that luggage. Go get those little things. Set up things that make sense for what you see in your sats, what you see in your movies. Go get a new outfit that's related to that. Recently, I did a little shopping haul, same thing. I had an amazing time and I got outfits for future trips and things that I know that I'm going to be doing or I am doing, right? There's a version of us in the multiverse that is already doing those things. So you want to align to that version. There's a version of you that's sitting here in the new studio, like right now. There's a version of me that is doing something else. It's where I'm aligned to at the moment, and also to a little bridge of incidents. So it's not to say where you are is not because there's misalignment. Sometimes, like I said, this was a blessing to actually not be in transition during this particular time, how it was unfolding in this version in the multiverse. But I'm always working on aligning to my highest version of where I could be at the time and enjoying the journey. So have fun, do something good for yourself, do a staycation, and do the things. Like I said, whatever that inspired thing is, just know it. I went and got new lighting. I knew it because I love doing this channel and I love supporting y'all, and I can't wait to share more as I go along with all the things that have unfolded or are unfolding, and what I used to get there at the time. And I'm always experimenting. So you want your version of your Barbados to be second nature. If you want to get so familiar, or this is at least my own personal point of view, is that there are some things that I listen to that are part of my sats in the evening. Obviously, nighttime is very controlled just before you go to bed. That when I'm having not even a moment during the day, but if it's just not feeling that juicy, delicious feeling that you know that your ultimate version of you at this moment could be experiencing, I just close my eyes and I think of that music, or I think of those affirmations. I think of that moment and it comes to me. I try and recapture it. You want it to be second nature, and you don't want to stop. Because I had friends who asked me, okay, well, now that you manifested all this amazing stuff, why are you doing more? Like, what more could you want? And I said, well, number one, it never ends. And it doesn't. We always will want more, right? You want to enjoy the journey, but also you want to stay in alignment with what you have manifested, or stay to that version of you in the multiverse. You do. So we change to become that new version and to stay there. And that's part of what this conversation is about, is aligning to it and then maintaining it. So the work is never done, but it's not work. I hate calling it that. I call it self-love. It's a new you that's emerging, and those loops, those thoughts you're introducing at some point with those affirmations, with those robotic affirmations, with those subliminals, with your sats, just the thinking process. When you know that you're continuously thinking those things naturally and you don't have to make it a process, a procedure, that's when you really know you're there. But you can get there with implementing those techniques and then having it become more natural and more consistent, because that's what will happen. If it doesn't stay consistent, you can fall out of alignment a little bit with it, and you can get back on the horse and find it again. So it is important. It is so important that whatever your Barbados is, that you find different things throughout the day and throughout the night that try and keep you in your Barbados, because eventually it'll become second nature. If it doesn't, I have seen for myself even where something wasn't maintainable at the moment, but that's okay, because everything is a learning process. So I think that's most of what I wanted to talk about for today, but I really wanted to hop on and talk about the journey right now and what to do during the Sabbath. Hopefully, I'm demonstrating for you some ideas that make sense and that how important this alignment is. And like I said, it's the most loving thing you could do for yourself. I mean, we are manifesting 24/7 anyway. We're having random thoughts without all of this Neville stuff, whatever, affirmations. You are constantly manifesting. You are a natural manifester. You're manifesting all the time. It's what you're thinking about, it's what you are assuming. So please think about what you're thinking about. Please think about what you want to think about. Think about what makes you feel amazing and write down for yourself, you know, whether it's like little cue cards or whether it's things on your phone, alarms on your phone, just to remind you of certain affirmations. Do them certain times a day. Music, listen to affirmative audios that have subliminals in it that remind you of something that is about this your desired state, because you want to stay in the desired state as much as possible. So at some point it just becomes natural. At some point it's your new maintained version of you. So my lighting just went, so I guess it's time for me to go too. And so that's what I wanted to say about that for today. So I don't know where you are in the world today or what you are trying to manifest, but I hope you are having the most amazing day, and I'm holding the space that all your dreams have come true. And until the next time, bye.